I spent 100 days playing Stardew Valley, and here's what happened. Day 1, I spawned into my farm named Mariatopia after my beautiful and perfect angel, Maria. And after promptly trying to axe my bed, I picked up my parsnips and got them planted. I then spent the rest of my energy cleaning up my farm a little bit, trying to farm enough wood to make a chest so that I could actually store all my things. And then I walked around town grabbing any forageables I could, making some new friends, and checked the calendar to see whose birthday was coming up, which was Mary Lewis on Sunday. I ended day 1 with quite a good haul of forageables, but I'm kind of a hoarder in this game. I like to hold on to stuff probably way longer than I should in case anybody requests it or I need it for a recipe. So I probably could have sold this stuff to make a little money, but I held on to it instead. That night, Tinkerbell came by and blessed our parsnips, making them grow much faster, and I leveled up foraging. But before we hop into day 2, I wanted to talk about my goals for the first 100 days, which included all or as many of the community center bundles as I could, try to give loved or at least liked gifts to everyone on their birthday, purchase and fully upgrade both the coop and the barn, reach at least level 100 in Skull Cavern, and get a hold of an ancient seed so we could slowly start building our ancient fruit empire. And obviously all of that was going to take a lot of work, so we had to get back to the grind. But I just wanted to give you an idea of like where my head's at and where I'm making all these decisions and why I'm doing what I'm doing in these first 100 days. Day 2, our parsnips were already ready thanks to the fairy event the night before. And to be expected, I didn't get any golden parsnips. I needed 5 of those for the community bundle. The parsnips grow pretty fast, so I was going to worry about that later on in the month. After going down to the beach and getting my fishing rod from Willie, I decided to go ahead and spend all my money on potatoes and plant those. That way I could level up my farming skill. I then went and snatched some spring onions from Cindersop Forest before heading to the ocean to catch the one fish I needed for spring from the ocean, which was a sardine. I knew I also needed the eel, which I could catch during spring while it was raining in the ocean, but I was such a low fishing level, I was going to wait until fall to catch the eel. Fishing in Stardew Valley always brings back fond memories because the very first time I played Stardew Valley years ago, I actually ended up rage quitting because I didn't understand how the fishing worked and I couldn't catch a fish. But I'm so glad I got over my stubborn ways and came back because I love this game so much. I made sure to stop and catch the sunfish, which was the one river fish I needed for spring for the community center bundle. We're heading up to the mountain lake to do some more fishing. I also realized there's a couple quests that I had redeemed, which gave me a little bit of extra money, which was incredible. At the lake, I knew I needed to catch a carp, a bullhead fish, and a largemouth bass. But unfortunately, I was there too late to catch the largemouth bass, so I just got the other 2 I needed, and I would come back another time for the largemouth bass. And fishing in Stardew Valley early game is the best way to make money, so you're definitely going to see me do a lot of fishing in these first few days. And that night, I hit fishing level 1. I woke up on day 3, and it was raining, which was perfect. And then I didn't have to water my plants, I could just farm enough wood to make a chest, and then head straight to the mountain lake. Then I just spent the rest of the day fishing, and I actually got a few chests from these fish, which got me some geodes, even got me some bait that I didn't realize I couldn't put on the bamboo rods, so I'd have to get a fiberglass rod for that. I even got a few artifacts from the chests. So I fished and I fished and I fished until I ran out of energy. And I was actually going to be holding on to all these fish until I had fishing level 5. That way I get the fisher skill and my fish would sell for 25% more. And would you look at that, I leveled up fishing yet again. And day 4, Clint came a knocking, let me know about geodes, how they worked, hadn't even been in the mines. We already got some from fishing. He also gave me the blueprint for the furnace, which I couldn't really use yet because we hadn't gone mining. So for now, I went ahead and watered my plants and got ready for another day of fishing. On my way to fishing, grabbed all the forageables that I could, stopped by in town, saw Demetrius had a quest to catch 3 anchovies. Didn't have any plans to go down the ocean, but figured, hey, I'll go and do that. I also decided to go ahead and grab the crops that I needed for the community bundle, which were the green beans, cauliflower. I also grabbed a couple other plants just because you never know if somebody's going to ask for one. I don't know, I like to have like one of each plant on hand if I can, just in case. I also dropped off the artifacts I'd gotten from fishing the night before to Gunther, then went down to the ocean and started fishing. This is my first time playing since the new update, and I didn't know anything about this, but I caught sea jelly, which I would figure out later what that was used for. So I fished and I fished and I fished, and I caught basically everything but anchovies. I even got a halibut that had a chest with a diamond in it. And finally, by the end of the night, I caught my last anchovy, but it was unfortunately too late to go give it to Demetrius. Once I got back to the farm, I realized my inventories were already getting full again. I was going to need another chest. And that night, we leveled up our fishing to level 3. On day 5, I woke up to some letters from a mouse selling me hats. And Jojo Mart let me know the mines were open, but that could wait. And I also realized this later in my run, but it was Friday, which meant that the traveling merchant was in town. And even though I didn't have a lot of money, I probably should have gone and looked to see if there's anything I needed for the community center, but I would start doing that later, so you live and you learn. I grabbed a couple parseps that hadn't grown as quickly as the other ones that had been blessed by the fairy. Quickly farmed up in their chests because I had way too many fish. I dropped off the anchovies to Demetrius and got back to fishing. And it was like Linus could sense that I was getting lonely doing all this fishing and he came over and hung out. Yeah, I love Linus. He's one of my favorite characters in this game. He's just living his own little world in his little tent, trying not to bother anybody. He's just so cool. While fishing, we got a couple more treasure chests with some rice, some topaz, and before I knew it, I was out of energy. Something new that came with the update is that artifact spots can sometimes drop you like seasonal plants. Like in spring, I was getting carrots, which I thought was pretty cool. Spent the rest of the day snagging up some more forageables, then went to bed and saw that I finally leveled up my farming so I could build a scarecrow and I didn't have to worry about waking up to potentially a lost crop. On day 6, I did the usual chores, watered my plants, and also noticed this message pop up. I didn't really know what it was before, and I realized kind of light bulb clicked that, oh, it meant that I leveled up a skill. So now the next day, forage would be leveled up. And you'll never believe what I did on day 6. I went fishing. Yep, I went fishing, hung out with my best buddy Linus, even got some river jelly. We had a special guest, Abigail, playing her flute. And I fished again until I ran out of energy. There's definitely a pattern here, but the pattern will be broken soon, I promise. This will not be 100 days of fishing in Stardew. And just like the voices in the head had told me, I did indeed level up foraging to level 2. Day 7 was a Sunday, which meant 2 things. It was Queen of Sauce Day. Yes, I was gonna go out of my way to make sure I watched Queen of Sauce every Sunday, because my first go through at perfection, that was one of my biggest mistakes, is that I did not watch all of the Queen of Sauce, and I didn't get all the recipes. And we're definitely not gonna hit perfection these first 100 days, but if you do like the video and you want to see me try to go for 200 days and try to go for perfection, definitely make sure you like and comment down below. But today was also Mayor Lewis's birthday. So before I headed out to give him his gift and make sure to water the plants, I finally made a scarecrow so that my crops wouldn't get eaten by the crows. And on my way to give Mayor Lewis the gift, I got the community center cutscene. Awkwardly stood there, just being like, yo, can I give you your gift right now? Like, I'm here, I'm waiting. And then, nope. So I trotted on down to Mayor Lewis's house, gave him a daffodil. I didn't have anything he loved. I only had a daffodil. And it honestly wasn't even really worth it. It did nothing to our friendship. So in retaliation, and of course knowing Mayor Lewis's absolute hate for fish, I went fishing. I of course caught fish, I got some artifacts, more mountain jelly, some earth crystals, some more rice. And that night when I went to bed, I finally hit fishing level 5. Today was finally the day. We were finally gonna sell all the fish that we had stockpiled up. I was so excited. So I trotted my way on down to Willie to sell all the fish. And I just love how you hold these items over your head as you're running around, like just carrying this fish through town. Like, look at me go, I'm about to make so much money. My first haul of fish made over 3,000 G. I also took a quick glance at Willie's stock and saw this fish smoker recipe, which I didn't get at the time, but I would definitely get later. On my way back to get my second haul of fish, I stopped by Pierre's and grabbed all the parseps I would need to try to get my 5 golden parsnips. I also made sure to make some fertilizer to guarantee at least 5 golden parsnips, and it was a perfect day to plant because it was raining. I grabbed the rest of my fish to sell and made almost another 3,000 G, which I think at that point it earned me the fiberglass rod. And I also treated myself to the backpack upgrade so I didn't have to keep walking around with a chest to store all my stuff. Since it was raining, I decided to try to go and catch the catfish. I hooked the catfish and lost it. I hooked the second catfish and also lost that one too. But finally, on the third one, I got it. I also got a book, an artifact, and some more bait. Then I just decided to go and fish until I was out of energy. And would you look at that, I hit farming level 2 that night. On day 9, I finally went to Magnus to talk to him about learning the language of the apples, so I could finally start contributing to the community center. I stopped in town and accepted a quest from Haley to get some sardines, checked birthdays to see that Vincent's birthday was tomorrow, and then grabbed all the forageables that I had to contribute for the spring forage bundle at the community center. I'd wanted to go to the mines that day, but I'd spent all my energy watering plants, so I decided to work on Haley's quest instead. After catching all the sardines, I just decided to go and fish all my energy away, and the voices in my head let me know that I was indeed going to be leveling up fishing that night. On day 10, I woke up and it was raining, which was perfect to go to the mines. Didn't have to waste any energy watering plants. I also went in and checked the luck on the TV and it seemed really good, so even better day for mining. On one of the mines, I went and ran a couple errands. I dropped off what I could at the community center, stopped by Vincent, gave him his birthday gift, donated a couple artifacts to Gunther, got some cauliflower seeds, opened the 1 geode I had at Cliffs, donated that to Gunther. And honestly, at this point, I was kind of like overwhelmed at like all I needed to do for the rest of the year. I knew I needed to reach the bottom of the mines. I knew I needed to start working on the coop in the barn. And at that point, I just decided I was going to wait to start working on the coop in the barn until summer and spend the rest of spring trying to get to the bottom of the mines. Once all my errands were done, I headed up to the mines and got to work. I knew I wanted to prioritize bugs because they have a rare chance of dropping ancient fruit seeds. But by floor 8, I realized the mistake of not bringing any kind of food to help with energy. But thankfully, in some of the barrels, I found cave carrots, which honestly kind of carried that day. On floor 9, I got some sneakers and a magnet ring. But by floor 10, I got the treasure chest and got leather boots that were way better than the sneakers. I was happy enough with floor 10, so I went ahead and made a furnace, smelted the copper that I had, and went to bed, getting foraging to level 3 and mining to level 1. On day 11, I woke up to Marlin challenging me to kill 10 slimes, which would be easy peasy. I got a letter from Silly Robin letting me know that she lost her axe, which I would get later. But for now, I went ahead and quickly watered all the plants, harvested the rice that was ready, and head to the mines, making sure to pick up any forageables that I found so I actually had some food for energy. And I got to mining. My goal for the mines that day was just to make it as far as I could with the energy that I had and the time that I had. Still making sure to prioritize any bugs that I saw, hoping for an ancient fruit seed. I broke all the wooden barrels on floor 19, got nothing useful, minus the cave carrots, which were really good for energy at the time. Hit level 20, got a sweet weapon upgrade. And I really wanted to make it floor 25 that night, but it just wasn't in the cards. Time was running out. I could not get a ladder to save my life on floor 23. So defeated, I went and left. But I got a bunch of copper ore and a dwarf scroll. That night, we leveled up combat. On day 12, I woke up to the best cutscene in the whole game. That's right, we acquired the goodest doggo, and I thought about naming them after Maria, but she had a whole farm named after her already, so I thought it was fine. Today, the parsnips were also ready, and we got exactly 5 golden parsnips. I also got a letter reminding me that the egg festival was gonna be the next day. I went ahead and donated my 5 golden parsnips to the community center, checked the birthdays while I was in town to see that Haley's was on Sunday, and I bought some potato seeds because I realized I'd sold all the potatoes from before and I still needed at least 1 for the community center. Planted the potatoes and the cauliflower seeds that I gotten as a reward from Gunther. And I knew the following day that I wanted to spend most of my money on strawberry seeds at the egg festival, so I started preparing the land for that. And at this time I didn't have any sprinklers, so I just kind of tilled the land with the intention of watering them, and you'll see how that turns out later. Preparing the land basically used all my energy, so I just spent whatever I had left fishing. When I got home that night, the goodest doggo, still the goodest doggo, but was kind of blocking my way inside, so after a little shimmying, I made my way to bed. Day 13 was the egg festival, so while I waited for it to start, I went in and watered all the ground where I was going to plant the strawberries, thinking as I did it how I really wished I had sprinklers at this point, and that I was going to definitely regret this later. When the festival started, I went and instantly bought 70 strawberries, went around, said hello to all my friends, and got ready to crush everyone in the egg hunt. I won the egg hunt and earned the straw hat, which I quickly put on, truly feeling that I was falling into the Farmer Maggie role. And after the festival was over, got home, planted all my strawberry seeds, and went to bed. Day 14 was going to be another mining day, but first we had to stop by Haley's and give her a gift. And of course, she was chilling in her room, door locked, so I patiently waited outside the door like the good friend that I was. And then I got to mining, but for some reason, I just kept forgetting to bring food for energy. And so I get to floor 23 and I just was out of energy, had nothing to replenish it. So I went home, made some bug steaks, and kind of looked for anything I could use for energy. I had a bunch of cave carrots I could have brought with me, but for some reason, I've just the hoarder instinct, I just didn't want to take them with me for some reason. But thankfully that night we leveled up mining, so we were slowly going to start losing less and less energy while mining. Day 15 was the day that I realized I really should have made sprinklers. I wasted all of my energy watering my plants, so I couldn't go mining. It was also the day that salmon berries started spawning in the trees, so that would be a free source of energy. I could just run around the map, grabbing as many as I could, and just have them on me while I was mining. So I ran around the map, doing some foraging, ran into Jazz and Vincent at the sewers. Doesn't really seem like the cool place to hang out, but I'm not here to judge. I went up to the mines and smelted a little bit more copper before heading to bed. Day 16 was a huge day, so after wasting all of our energy watering our plants, we headed to the mines, and then on floor 22, this happened. I wasn't recording with my mic on, but you can see how I'm kind of sitting here not really doing anything. That was kind of internally panicking because I'd never had this happen in one of my runs, getting an ancient seed from a bug. I always would get it from an artifact spot or pretty late game. So thankfully I'd seen in a YouTube video before starting my own 100 days that you could do this. So I was super stoked to say the least. And in case you don't know why I was so stoked about the ancient fruit seed, ancient fruit is the most profitable crop in Stardew. So getting access to it super early meant that I could start slowly working towards amassing a fortune. I plan on donating this to Gunther ASAP, but wanted to wait until I had speed grow fertilizer to actually plant it. And then every fruit that I got from this plant would be saved to make into seeds that would eventually go into our greenhouse. I made it all the way to floor 28, but it was too late to really go all the way to 30, so I had to leave. And I was so close to getting home and getting in bed but instead decided that, hey, if the floor is good enough for Goodest Doggo, it's good enough for me, and passed out promptly on the floor. And that night, we leveled up combat. Day 17 continued our 100 days of watering strawberries playthrough. At least that's what it felt like. After that was all done, I quickly went down to Gunther's, donated the ancient fruit seed to get our own ancient fruit seed, got a star fruit seed from him as a reward, foraged a few more salmon berries, and also decided today I wanted to farm the 300 wood I needed to fix the bridge over to the other side of the beach so that we could start getting things like coral and sea urchins. When I got home that night, I checked the weather, hoping and praying that it was going to be raining tomorrow, and it wasn't. But I did manage to level up foraging that night. Day 18 was a pretty busy day. The potatoes were ready, which meant that I could donate all the crops I had for the spring bundle. I finally returned Robin's missing axe to her, upgraded my own axe to copper, the first upgrade I've done so far in this playthrough. I grabbed a beer from Gus for Pam's birthday, and I found her in JoJo's Mart fraternizing with the enemy. I got back home, finally got the ancient fruit seed planted with speed grow fertilizer. I tried to spend the rest of the day in the mines, but I think it was a bad luck day because I was having like zero luck getting ladders on each level. And on my way home, I ran into Linus, getting harassed by George for going through his trash, and of course, I had Linus's back. And I just absolutely love the exchange between Gus and Linus afterwards. Like, Gus is such a cool dude too. Offering Linus a fresh cooked meal, like that's just so wholesome. When I got home, I checked the weather, and thankfully it was gonna be raining the following day, so we could actually hit the mines with a full bar of energy. Day 19, I woke up and planted the spring forageables that I'd gotten as a reward from the community center. And I still don't know why I was continuing to plant things when I didn't have sprinklers. I guess I was just a glutton for wanting to waste all my energy on watering, but here we are. I also got a quest in the mail from Jody for a cauliflower, and I was so overjoyed that my hoarding tendencies were finally going to pay off. I always try to keep at least one of each crop that I harvest per season just in case something like this comes up. But I'd complete that task another day because it was mining time. I managed to make it all the way to level 41, and by God did the salmon berries come in clutch. Day 20, I woke up to a letter in the mail from my dad giving me 500G. Thank you very much, Father. I'm not gonna make you watch me water all of these plants, but I just want you all to know I am doing this every day that it is not raining. I delivered the cauliflower that I've been hoarding to Jody, bought a beer from Gus for Shane's birthday, and happened to run into Shane while I was heading to his house. On my way to go mining, I stopped by to check on my Monster Slayer goals. I'd already completed the insect goal, which earned me the insect head, but I was very far off from the rest of them, so I had to get to work. I quickly realized that my pickaxe really wasn't going to cut anymore, and I needed to upgrade to copper ASAP. But I didn't let that stop me, and I farmed up so much iron ore. By the end of the night, I got to level 50 and got a boot upgrade. And when I went to bed that night, I leveled up both mining and combat to level 3. Day 21, it was finally time to harvest all the strawberries. Ah, it felt so good that all that hard work was finally paying off. I sold off all the regular quality and silver quality strawberries, but I chose to keep the gold quality ones for gifts because I knew that Maru and Demetrius both loved them. And as wonderful as it was to harvest all the strawberries, I then remembered that I had to water them all again. Picked up my copper axe from Clint and sold off just enough things to be able to afford the upgrade for my pickaxe. And then went and checked out the bookseller for the first time, and everything looked so wonderful. However, I only had 52G to my name. I went up to Marlin and sold off all of my old equipment, and I ventured over to Cindersap Forest, and it was finally on day 21 that I remembered that the traveling merchant existed. I checked out her store, but of course there was nothing useful, and I also didn't have enough money to afford it, even if I wanted it. I spent the rest of the day cutting down trees in my farm. That way I could make tree taps for oak resin, maple syrup, and pine tar. I knew I needed some of that for the community center, and I knew I would eventually need oak resin to make kegs. I would eventually make like a full tree tapping farm, but for now I just wanted at least one of each tree tapped. And that night I leveled up farming. I also made 8,310G from just the strawberries. On day 22, Demetrius came by asking what I want to do with the cave, and of course, I chose bats. Bats, always. And after spending what felt like the entirety of spring watering my crops, I really wanted to make sure that I had quality sprinklers for all my summer crops. So I went to my furnaces at the mine and made sure to start smelting iron, and would have to get down to floors 80 plus to be able to start getting gold and start smelting some gold bars. I also got a crab pot set up at the river so I could complete the crab pot community center bundle. And honestly, at this point, it's kind of a waiting game. I was waiting for my pickaxe to be ready, and I also didn't want to spend too much money because I wanted to save it all to spend money on the crops for summer. On day 23, my pickaxe was ready. I went and picked it up and also started the upgrade on my hoe. I've thought over a dozen times how to say this without it sounding weird, but there you go. I upgraded my hoe. Once I started mining, it was so much faster with the upgraded pickaxe. On floor 56, I got a slime infested floor, which is really good for trying to get 1,000 slimes for the monster slayer goal, and also would help me level up my combat. On floor 59, I broke all the wooden barrels and got this Stardew Valley almanac, which gave me some more farming XP. I hit floor 60, got the crystal dagger, but decided the insect head was still better. I ended the night by smelting some more iron ore, and when I went to bed, I leveled up farming to level 5, and I decided to go with the rancher skill, which seemed silly at the time since I didn't have any animals, but I was eventually going to get some, so I figured this was the smarter option. On day 24, it was the Flower Dance Festival. Before that started, I had some cauliflower that were ready that I planted earlier. It was also then that I realized I hadn't hit level 6 farming, which was needed to get the quality sprinklers, but I was hoping that whenever I harvested the strawberries later that week, that would give me the XP I needed. When I got to the festival, I bought the rare crow and the recipe for the tub of flowers, both of which I was going to need for perfection eventually. And after saying hi to everyone, I looked around, realized I didn't really have anyone I could dance with, and thought I'd take a shot in the dark and ask Haley. And she said no. I'm not really sure if the was necessary. Like, if I had it my way, I would have just brought Good's doggo and danced with them. But it is what it is. So I sat there and reluctantly watched them do their totally elegant and very well choreographed dance before heading home. And when I got home, I put out my new scarecrow, then went to bed. On day 25, my second and last strawberry harvest was ready, which was good for 2 reasons. 1, we were going to make lots of money, and 2, it was going to give me enough XP to finally unlock quality sprinklers. Since I was going to be making a lot of money the following day, I decided to go ahead and upgrade my axe to steel. That way I could start accessing the secret woods to be able to farm hardwood, get some forageables, kill some slimes. And then I spent the rest of the day mining. I ended up making it to floor 70, got the master slingshot, got my first gold bar smelting, also got some quartz refining, and then went to bed. And sure enough, that night, I unlocked the quality sprinklers. I also leveled up mining and combat to level 4. I made 8,610 G from strawberries. On day 26, my spring forageables were ready, and don't worry, I sold most of them this time. It was also Pierre's birthday, so I gave him a dandelion. And then I got to mining. I knew I still needed to make it to the floors 80 plus to be able to start getting a consistent source of gold. And I wanted to make at least 10 quality sprinklers for the summer crops. On floor 71, I found a diamond. On floor 76, I found a book in one of these barrels that gave me some fishing XP. I hit floor 80, got the boot upgrade. And now that I was finally on the floors where I could access gold, I realized yet again I needed to upgrade my pickaxe. But for now, it was going to be fine. I just needed to farm enough gold for the quality sprinklers, and I'd upgrade my axe later. On floor 86, I got an infested floor. And normally this would be pretty good to farm slimes, but I wasn't really equipped and I kind of was just here to farm gold, so I quickly noped out of there. I ended up farming enough gold for 4 gold bars and crafted my first quality sprinkler. When I got home, I made a chest because I was getting so many things from the mines, I needed more space. And then I went to bed. On day 27, my steel axe was finally ready. And also, our first ancient fruit was looking pretty good. I went over to Emily's to give her a birthday gift and got this cutscene between her and Haley, arguing over who should clean the couch. And after the flower dance incident, I of course sided with Emily. Like, just clean up after yourself, Haley. It's not that tough. But even after the cutscene was over, I still had to wait for Emily to leave her room to give her a birthday gift. I could not wait until the day that I wasn't the weird creep standing outside their door waiting for them to leave. Instead, I could be the creep waiting in their bed to surprise them with their birthday gift. After leaving Emily's, I saw that I had a periwinkle waiting for me in the crab pot. Then I went and picked up my axe and headed to the mines. I had 3 gold bars waiting for me, which meant 3 more quality sprinklers. And then I went mining. And of course, I made the mistake of not bringing enough food with me again, and I quickly ran out of energy on floor 88. But it was early enough in the night that I decided to go home, grab some food, and get back to mining. On floor 85, I got the holy blade from this dude. And on floor 88, I found another diamond, which happened to level up my mining. I ended the night by smelting the remaining gold that I had, and after all the hard work, I so far had 6 quality sprinklers to my name, which meant I needed to farm only 4 more quality sprinklers for my goal. That night I hit mining level 5, and I chose to go with the miner skill so that I could farm gold just a little bit faster. Day 28, I plan on spending the whole day trying to get my quality sprinklers set up, and this is like the part of Stardew that I'm the worst at. Like, I love the actual farming, the mining, but I'm so bad at organizing and planning out my farm layout. And I promise by the end of the 100 days, this will get a lot better. And at this point, I was just happy to actually have quality sprinklers so I don't have to water my plants every day. So I spent the rest of the day making sure I had all the resources I needed for all 10 sprinklers, because I knew that I wanted to predominantly plant a bunch of blueberries, but I also needed at least 5 golden melons for the community center bundle. And I was also going to get some corn planted because I know I needed 5 golden corn for the community bundle as well. And by the end of the night, it wasn't a very pretty layout, but it was functional and I was happy enough. Day 29 was the start of summer and time to plant some new crops. While I was waiting for Pierre's to open, I decided to yet again change my quality sprinkler layout. Yeah, like I said, I'm a mess when it comes to farm layout, but it'll get better, I promise. After Pierre's opened, I headed over there, bought all the seeds I was gonna need, and got to planting. By the end of the night, this is kind of the layout that I had worked out, and I went to bed that night extremely excited that I wasn't gonna have to wake up the following morning and water all my crops. On day 30, I had some maple syrup and oak resin ready. I'd already harvested some pine tar a few days ago, so I decided to hop over to the community center and donated everything that I could to all the bundles. I completed the minecart bundle, which unlocked the minecart, so I could start getting to the mines much faster. I went over to the secret woods for the first time, farmed up some hardwood, killed some slimes, and then spent the rest of my energy farming some wood in the cindersap forest. That way I could complete the construction bundle. Day 31, I went and checked out the bat cave, and there wasn't really anything useful in there that I could use for the community center. I then went over to the community center and donated the last item I needed to complete the crab pot bundle. I spent a lot of time cleaning up my farm, and I kind of waited a long time to do this because the first ever time I played Stardew, I remember spending an entire day chopping down everything in my farm, and then a few weeks later realizing how bad of an idea this was because the trees weren't dropping seeds and growing more trees, and I quickly ran out of wood really fast. So this time around, I just decided to clear out space as needed. I went and did another run in the secret woods and also spent some time organizing my chest because up until this point, I sort of just dumped stuff wherever. And I was definitely over that. I wanted to have designated chests for each kind of item. So like farming items, items I would need for caves or got from caves, and also a chest just dedicated for fishing. And when I went to bed that night, I leveled up foraging and went with the forester skill. Day 32, it was Jazz's birthday, so I went and gave her a daffodil. Then I went down to the ocean and started catching all the fish I was gonna need for the community center bundle for summer. I needed a tuna, a tilapia, and a puffer fish. And the puffer fish I could only catch between 12 and 4. I also needed a red snapper from the ocean, but I could only catch that when it was raining. At one point my inventory got really full, so I hopped into Willie's to sell him some fish, and I got this cutscene. I got an artifact that I needed from a treasure chest, and right at 4 p.m., I finally caught a pufferfish. I went and donated all the fish that I caught that day at the community center, read a mining almanac that I'd gotten from fishing that day, checked the weather for tomorrow and saw that it was going to be thunderstorming, and that's when I realized I wasn't a high enough foraging skill to make lightning rods, which I was going to need for battery packs. So I spent the rest of the night chopping down trees trying to level up my foraging skill. I didn't level up foraging, but I did get fishing to level 7. On day 33, I worked on catching the sturgeon, which was the last lake fish I needed to complete that bundle. I also stopped by Robin's and finally started the construction on my coop, and bought myself a calendar so I could check the birthdays for my house. I stopped by the traveling merchant, found nothing useful, hit up the secret woods, and then spent the rest of the day cutting down trees to try to level up foraging. On day 34, I continued to work on my foraging skill. With the last little bit of my energy left, I saw that I was going to be leveling it up that night. Day 35 was my first evergreen rain, and I had no idea what the heck was going on. Like, was I okay to be outside? Were my crops gonna be okay? I also noticed some weird plants growing around my farm. I chopped one down, got some mixed flower seeds. I walked by Robin's house and saw Demetrius in a full hazard suit. And was like, do I need to be wearing one of these too? Like, but then I saw Linus just chilling in the rain, like no big deal. And that's when I knew I was okay. I then remembered that I wanted to make lightning rods, so I went to the mines and farmed what I needed to make those. I ended up making 5. While walking around town, I noticed this funny looking tree, and when I chopped it down, I got some fiddlehead ferns. When I got home that night, I remembered I hadn't watched Queen of Sauce that day, but when I tried to watch the TV, it didn't work, I guess because of the green rain. So I'd have to catch the Queen of Sauce rerun on Wednesday. On day 36, the coop was finally done. It was time to buy some chickens. I didn't really know what to name them, so I just kind of randomized the names until I found something that I liked. It was also Gus's birthday, so I gave him a diamond. I caught the red snapper that I needed to complete the ocean fish bundle, and also knew that I wanted to start the construction on the barn ASAP. I was gonna need $6,000 for the barn, and then $6,000 to afford the 4 cows that I wanted. I went fishing to try to make some extra money. Eventually, once our blueberries were done, we'd be able to use those to make jam and make some more money, but until then, we were gonna go fishing. I ended up making about 2,700 G that night, which wasn't anywhere close to what I needed, but it was definitely a start. On day 37, I had some batteries ready from the thunderstorm the day before. I went and said hello to my new chickens before spending the rest of the day fishing. I sold my first haul of fish and made almost 2,500 G. I had this sick bubble spawn that I was able to farm for literal hours. After selling my second haul of fish, I had enough money to be able to afford the barn tomorrow, but I still needed to save up enough money to actually afford the cows, so I kept fishing. And that night, I hit fishing level 8. On day 38, I actually remembered to watch the Queen of Sauce rerun. As I was editing this, I was like, oh wait, did I actually do it? And I did. Way to go, Past Maggie. I got a letter in the mail reminding me about the luau tomorrow, and I went out to Robin's to get the construction on the barn started. I was gonna put the coop in the barn here for now, but I would eventually move them below my house. During winter, after all my crops had died, I could move my crop layout to a different spot. It was also Maru's birthday, and I got to do this fun thing again where I wait outside their door. She made me wait until 12:30, like, come on, bro, I got stuff I gotta do. But it was worth it. She enjoyed her strawberry. I went ahead and upgraded my watering can since I was gonna need it. Thank you very much, sprinklers. I made a few preserving bins in preparation of the blueberries being done. And then I went fishing, but I didn't make that much from fishing because I spent most of the day running errands. But it was better than nothing. On day 39, my chickens were finally grown up and were starting to make eggs. I made a mayo machine so I could start making that sweet mayo money. I grabbed the gold cauliflower that I've been hoarding and headed to the luau. After walking around saying hi to everyone, I donated my cauliflower that definitely hadn't been sitting several days in a chest, and the governor loved it. It's like he could taste all the love and devotion I put into hoarding that cauliflower. When I got home that night, I started some more mayo, and while trying to pet the goodest doggo, I accidentally realized I could light the fireplace, which was a really cool source of light. I'd eventually make a glow ring, but for now, we would live in the shadows. On day 40, my watering can was ready. I took care of my chickens, got some more mayo started, and then headed to the mines. And I still needed more money to be able to afford all the cows I needed once the barn was ready, but for some reason, today I decided to farm iron and copper. I ended up making a glow ring, and leveled up combat to level 5 that night, and chose the fighter skill. On day 41, the melons were ready, and after harvesting them, I only got 2 golden melons, so I'd have to plant some more. It was Alex's birthday, so I gave him an egg. Stopped by Pierre's, grabbed some more melon seeds, got them planted, and decided I wanted to make some more quality sprinklers. I had a few more spots in my crop layout for them, but I had to farm some gold. Ended up making it to level 90 that night, got the obsidian edge sword, and when I went to bed that night, I leveled up mining to level 6. On day 42, both the barn and the blueberries were ready. I harvested the blueberries, sold off all the high quality ones, and then kept the lower quality ones for jam. Before I went down and bought the cows, I realized that hay was going to be a problem and I wanted to get a silo built ASAP. That way I could harvest the grass on my farm and essentially have free hay. When I got to Robin's, I got this cutscene between Maru and Demetrius, and apparently giving Maru a completely platonic strawberry turned me into a threat to Demetrius. After that extremely awkward encounter, I went down and bought the cows, headed back to the farm, said hi to them. Then I stopped by Clint's because I realized I still hadn't picked up my watering can, donated the items I needed to complete the summer crop bundle and the exotic foraging bundle, and spent the rest of the night cleaning up my farm a little bit. That night, I leveled up farming to level 7. On day 43, I did my usual chores, took care of the animals, fed them, made sure that the mayo maker was constantly running, and then decided it was going to be a mining day. I got this insane mushroom floor on level 96, ended up making it to floor 100 and got my first star drop. And when I got home that night, I had some jam ready. I knew that I wanted to save up for the coop upgrade, which is going to be 10,000 G. And that night, I was able to sell enough to be able to afford the coop upgrade the next day. On day 44, my silo was ready, so before heading up to Robin's to upgrade the coop, I farmed as much hay as I could. I went and got the coop upgrade started, then headed back to the mines. I was really starting to struggle with only a copper pickaxe, but I was really wanting to save up all my money to upgrade the coop and the barn fully, and then once that was done, I would invest in a better pickaxe. I ended up making it to floor 110 that night, got the space boots, and had so much gold ore. On day 45, I started off the day with the usual chores, but while I was trying to collect eggs in the coop, I accidentally gifted Robin one of my eggs. I guess it was just a token of my appreciation for all the hard work she'd done on my farm. It was also Sam's birthday, so I stopped by Gus's, got him a pizza, and gave it to him at work, and I tried to talk to him afterwards, but I guess I was a bad influence. Then I headed back to the mines. I got all the way to floor 118, but sadly didn't have enough time to get to floor 120. That night, I leveled up combat to level 6 and mining to level 7. On day 46, I had another blueberry harvest, and at this point, it felt so good to have like a self-sustaining farm that was consistently giving me crops. Also, at some point, I'd harvested this ancient fruit. I don't remember doing it, but I did. And like I mentioned earlier, I was going to be saving these to eventually turn into seeds to put in our greenhouse. Lots and lots of future planning going on here. The coop upgrade was done, but I hadn't saved up enough money to afford the ducks, so I grabbed what I could, went down to Pierre's, and sold it all. And then I went and got my ducks. While randomizing names, I got this one that I'm going to pronounce as Snee, which was my favorite. Went home, said hi to my new ducks, then headed to the mines with the goals of getting to floor 120, which I absolutely crushed and got the Skull Cavern key, which we'd head over to later once I'd unlocked the bus. Stopped by the guild and checked out my Monster Slayer goals, just to remind myself that I was still way off from completing most of them. I went home, made a deluxe worm bin, then headed down to the beach to do some fishing because I still needed 12,000 G to be able to afford the upgrade on the barn. Day 47 was Demetrius' birthday, and despite our awkward encounter earlier that month, I still brought him a strawberry. I stopped by Marnie's, got a milk pail so I could actually start getting milk from the cows, checked the traveling merchant, saw she had nothing I wanted, went back home, made a cheese maker, got some milk so I could actually make some cheese, then went fishing for the rest of the day. That night, I leveled up fishing and made enough money to afford the barn upgrade the next day. On day 48, I got everything ready I was going to need to upgrade the barn, and I saw this message about a trout derby. I accepted a quest from Demetrius to bring him a melon before realizing I didn't have enough wood to actually upgrade the barn, so I started chopping down some trees. I went to upgrade the barn, realized I forgot my stone, went back, got my stone, and got the barn upgrade started. I spent a little time walking around town trying to figure out where this trout derby was going on, before finally finding everybody at Cindersap Forest. The rules of the trout derby were simple. Catch rainbow trout, and some of them would give you a golden tag. You could then take those golden tags and redeem them for rewards. I got 4 golden tags that night, earning a tent, a bucket hat, a crab pot, and some mystery boxes, which I didn't know what those were, but I was excited to find out. On day 49, after finishing up my chores, I donated the last item that I needed to complete the Artisan Community Center bundle. I stopped by the traveling merchant, saw she had nothing, and was just very hopeful one of these days she'd actually have something I needed. And at this point, the main thing I needed from her was the red cabbage. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to access that till the following year. Everything else I could probably get my hands on before then. I headed back to the trout derby, wasn't sure if I had any more golden tags that I could farm. And after a couple hours of fishing, I wasn't getting more golden tags. So either I was getting really unlucky or I'd gotten all the rewards. So I just went ahead and fished all my energy away, went home, made another cheese press, and spent the rest of the night cycling eggs and milk in their respective machines. Day 50, we are halfway there, folks. And if you've made it this far in this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if you have made it this far, comment something weird down below, like Sneed for president, just to confuse everybody. Today was another blueberry harvest, and I got an ancient fruit. The barn upgrade was done, but I needed about 16,000 G to be able to afford the 4 goats that I wanted. But instead of doing anything to farm that money, I started setting up my tree tap farm. And that night when I went to bed, I got the cutscene letting me know that mystery boxes were going to start spawning. But I hadn't even opened the ones that I had from the trout derby, which we would eventually do. On day 51, I woke up with enough money to be able to afford their goats. But of course, when I went down to Marnie's, it was a Tuesday, and she walked right past me without letting me buy the goats. So I ended up going back home and continuing working on my tree tap farm. I got it all set up how I wanted, made enough tree fertilizer for all 15 trees, and got them planted. Now I just had to wait for them all to grow and farm up the resources to make all 15 tree tappers. I might eventually change all these trees to oak trees, since oak resin was going to be the main resource I needed to make kegs, but for now I just wanted to stockpile all 3 resources. I needed more copper bars to make the tree tappers, so I headed to the mines. On day 52, I was finally able to get the goats. On my way down the beach to give Willie his birthday present, I got this cutscene between Sam and Vincent, where Vincent was worried about whether or not his father was going to come home. Like, come on adults, can we not talk about this stuff around the children? If only I could tell poor Vincent that his father was indeed going to come home safe. After that depressing exchange, I went and gave Willie a diamond for his birthday, and he instilled me with this life-changing knowledge. Thanks, Willie. Then I went and head up to the mines to farm some more copper. While mining, I got this monster compendium book that gave monsters a small chance to drop double the loot. Then I spent the rest of the night planning out where I wanted the rest of my quality sprinklers to go. On day 53, the melons were ready, and I easily got 5 golden melons. I accepted a quest from George to bring him a hot pepper for his knee, and also realized I needed to start saving 20,000 G to be able to afford the 3rd and final coop upgrade. I spent some time farming copper, making sure to periodically come home and keep the mayo and cheese maker going. I checked the resources I had and was able to make 5 quality sprinklers, and all I needed were 4 more sprinklers to be able to complete my layout. In fall, I was planning to plant mostly pumpkins, so by the time fall came, I wanted to make sure I had all the quality sprinklers down that would be covered by the scarecrow. On day 54, the blueberries were ready again. After harvesting those, I dropped by George's and gave him the pepper he'd requested. I then went and donated the 5 gold melons and 5 gold corn that I had to complete the quality crops bundle. That meant to get the greenhouse, all I needed were the fall crops and the goat milk. When I got back home, I placed the last 4 quality sprinklers that I needed, made 12 tree tappers, since I was going to take the 3 from the trees that I already tapped earlier that year, and then spent the rest of the night chopping down trees in my farm. Day 55, I mostly just sat around the farm doing chores, like keeping the cheese and mayo machine running. I can't remember why I hadn't started the coop or barn upgrade. I think maybe it was because I wanted to save all my money to make sure I could afford all the seeds I wanted for fall, but either way, it would get done eventually. Day 56 was the day of the rare moonlight jellies. So until then, I sat on the farm and did some more chores. I had been checking the traveling merchant every Friday and Sunday, but she never was selling the red cabbage that I wanted. But trust me, I'll let you all know if that happens. Today, all my trees were finally ready, so I grabbed all my tappers and got those set up. I also spent some time putting a stone path around all my crops, and again, farm layout isn't my strong suit, and all these sprinklers would end up getting moved when winter came around. 10 p.m. rolled around, I headed down to the beach and watched the jellies do their thing. Day 57 was the first day of fall, and I just absolutely love fall. It is my favorite season, IRL, in any game I play. It just has the best weather, the best holiday. But today was also the first day of the season. I had a lot of planting I had to do. So I headed down to Pierre's, bought all the seeds I was going to need, and got to planting. By the end of the night, I was super proud of all my hard work. On day 58, I decided I wanted to go with the final barn upgrade before the coop upgrade because I still needed truffles from pigs for the community center, and they don't produce truffles during winter, So I needed to get pigs ASAP in order to grow them up so they'd start producing truffles before winter came. When I headed into town, I got the cutscene for the bulletin board and picked up a quest from Robin to farm 80 hardwood. It was Penny's birthday, so I stopped by the library and gave her an emerald. New season meant new fish that I had to catch for the community center, so I stopped by Cindersap Forest and caught the last fish I needed for the riverfish bundle, which was the tiger trout. I stopped at the secret woods, farmed some hardwood, and also caught the wood skip while I was there, which is another fish I needed for the community center. On day 59, after taking care of all the animals, I went to the secret forest to farm some more hardwood for the Robin quest. I did a sweep of the map looking for any fall forageables and found none. I went up to Robin's and donated 80 hardwood that I already had, and then realized I actually had to farm all 80 hardwood to actually complete the quest. But instead of doing that, I headed to the mines and farmed floor 40 for iron and dust kills. On day 60, the barn upgrade had finished, and when I went down to Marnie's to buy the pigs, I hadn't realized there were 16,000 G apiece, and I definitely didn't have that, so I was gonna have to get some money and fast. But before that, I stopped by the secret woods and farmed up the rest of the hardwood that I needed for Robin's quest. Finally gave Demetrius the melon that he requested ages ago, and then spent the rest of the day fishing, hoping I could make some extra money. On day 61, I woke up with enough money to be able to afford at least one pig, and after welcoming little Pug to the farm, I noticed a ticket down the bulletin board waiting for me. The new update, when you complete bulletin board quests, you get a ticket, which you can go to Mayor Lewis's and redeem for reward. And while talking to Mayor Lewis about it, he said he was worried that people were only going to be doing these quests for the tickets. But you don't have to worry, Mayor Lewis. I'm definitely not doing it for just the tickets, but could you move aside so I can see what my goodies are? The first reward I got were some broccoli seeds, and sadly not the unicorn that I was hoping for. Today was also Elliot's birthday, but because it was raining, he locked himself inside his house. And before this moment, I'd spoken to him maybe once, so he was not letting me inside his house. I sat outside in the pouring rain, sad, realizing that this was the first birthday gift I wasn't going to be able to give. But honestly, it was his loss. I'd take my golden quality common mushroom somewhere else. Since it was raining today, I was able to catch some more fish that I needed for the community center, which were the eel and the walleye, completing the night fish bundle. Then I spent the rest of the night fishing at the ocean, planning on trying out the deployable tent that I won at the Trout Derby. On day 62, I woke up to the wonderful sounds of the ocean. I spent some time walking around the map, looking for all the fall forageables that I needed to complete the fall forageable community center bundle. Then I headed to the mines, and I was kind of toying around with the idea of whether or not mining or fishing was going to be more profitable. And at the time, I was still working with a copper pickaxe, so it was taking forever to farm gold ore. The night when I went to bed, I leveled up farming to level 9, unlocking the iridium sprinkler, but I couldn't quite make that yet. And after looking at the profit report, it definitely looked like fishing and selling mayo and cheese was going to be the much more profitable route. On day 63, I went down and got a second pig, named this one Pog. I also had some oak resin ready, and I was able to make 5 kegs. Whenever the pumpkins were ready to harvest, I plan on selling all the high quality ones and then using the lower quality pumpkins to make pumpkin juice. I also spent some time around the farm cycling milk and eggs in their respective machines, then went to the mines and farmed level 41 for iron ore and dust kills. That night when I went to bed, I leveled up mining to level 8. On day 64, I took Marnie the amaranth that she'd requested. I accepted a quest from Clint to slay 50 grubs, and then decided since I missed Elliot's birthday that I would bring him a pomegranate that I'd gotten from my bat cave. I found a return Linus's missing blackberry basket, and then spent the rest of the day working on Clint's grub quest. On day 65, I got a letter in the mail from Mayor Lewis reminding me that the Stardew Valley Fair would be next week. I donated the last item I needed for the animal bundle, meaning that to get the greenhouse, all I needed were to donate the fall crops that I was currently growing. Then I spent the rest of the day working on Clint's quest, and I managed to find the last grubs I needed around 12:30 a.m. And when I went to bed that night, I leveled up combat. On day 66, I remembered to redeem the quest from Clint that gave me 6,000 G. And with that, I went down to Marnie's and bought 2 sheep. Then I spent the rest of the day kind of doing chores, farming some hay, making sure that the mayo and cheese machines were running. Because honestly, at this point, I was kind of waiting for the fall crops to be done so that we could unlock the greenhouse. I was waiting for the pumpkins to be done so we could make a lot of money and unlock the bus. And I also needed to save up to do the last upgrade on the coop. On day 67, I used the ticket that I'd gotten from Clint's quest to redeem my reward, which was an orange sapling. I was going to save that sapling and eventually put it in the greenhouse. It was also Jody's birthday, and since I hadn't upgraded my house and had a kitchen, I couldn't make any pancakes, but I stopped by Gus's and grabbed a rhubarb pie, which she loved. Then I spent the rest of the day hanging around the farm, making cheese, mayo, just waiting on those gosh darn pumpkins. On day 68, I finally got the coop upgrade started, and Robin showed me the magnificent bed that she made from all the hardwood that I brought her. I smacked this artifact spot that was on my farm, and got a book that taught me a power. I don't know what power it was, because when I got it, I was so excited and just instantly read it, but I have a new power. That's pretty cool. I sat by the secret woods, farmed some hardwood, then spent the rest of the day making mayo and cheese. And that night when I went to bed, I leveled up foraging. On the funny number day, the pumpkins still weren't ready. But it was Abigail's birthday, so I went and gave her an amethyst. And then while waiting to loot this trash can, Shane was walking by, so I had to sneakily hide behind this fence to wait for him to pass. And I've been looting trash cans this entire playthrough and have yet to get anything from them. Like, I'm sure Linus is getting stuff, and that's good. Like, I'd rather him get something. But could I get, maybe like an old pizza or something? I've literally got nothing. Then I spent the rest of the day sitting on the farm, making some mayo, making some cheese, cutting down trees. Yeah, I didn't even plan that, but it rhymes, and I'm pretty happy with it. On day 70, the pumpkins are finally done. Enjoy this speedy montage of me harvesting them all. Also today, the coop upgrade was done, which meant I could get some bunnies. But before I did that, I went to the community center and donated the rest of the fall crops, meaning we had unlocked the greenhouse, and I could finally start planting some ancient fruit. Of course, once the greenhouse got built. I stopped by Pierre's, sold my pumpkins, bought 144 more pumpkin seeds, stopped by Marnie's, got 2 bunnies that I named Rabbit and Bunny, and then went home and planted the pumpkins. That night, the greenhouse was built, and I leveled up farming to level 10 and decided to go with the shepherd skill since I was mostly going to be focusing on pigs. So as I'm editing this, I looked it up because I was confused. I thought I remembered artisan being one of the choices for the level 10 skills. If I'd initially chosen tiller at level 5 as my skill, I could then choose artisan at level 10. So if I do end up doing another 100 days, I'll definitely change that. On day 71, I woke up to Jody at my front door asking me to catch her a largemouth bass for dinner. But before we did that, we had some chores to do. I guess at some point yesterday or the day before, I'd stop by Robin's and ask her to upgrade the house. Because here she is, hard at work. I stopped by the museum and donated a bunch of minerals that I had, and then went to Clint and cracked a bunch of geodes. I finally cracked open the mystery boxes that I'd collected so far, and actually got some pretty useful things, like this deluxe speed grow that I was definitely going to be using on the ancient fruit seeds later. After cracking open all the geodes, I donated everything new that I had to Gunther, then stopped by home and saw that I'd gotten my first truffle from the pigs. I stopped by the mountain lake and caught the largemouth bass for Jody, which we ate raw from the floor. I'm just kidding, I'm sure Jody made a delicious meal, but I'm actually vegetarian in real life, so I like to imagine that I sat there quietly watching them eat it. On my way home from dinner, I picked up a quest from Linus to collect some trash. I then went home to start working on the greenhouse. I started by planting the orange sapling that I'd gotten as a reward from the tickets, and the apple tree sapling that I purchased at Pierre's earlier, because that was one of the last things I needed for the community center were apples, and I really wasn't getting them from the Batcave. Then placed down the extra quality sprinklers that I had, and I was going to place them down as if they were iridium sprinklers and then just plant around them accordingly, because eventually I was going to get iridium sprinklers in here once I had the resources to make those. I ended up planting 10 ancient fruit that night with the deluxe speed grow that I had, but I was going to wait till I had more speed grow before planting any more ancient fruit. On day 72, I woke up to a letter from Marnie letting me know that she had the auto grabbers available in stock, and I was definitely going to get one of those as soon as I could afford it, because I was very tired of having to manually milk the cows every day. Today was also the day of the Stardew Valley Fair, and when I got to the fair, I immediately proved my worth at the strength machine. Then I set up my top tier display. I decided to farm most of my tickets at the fishing minigame, and I don't remember it being this hard. Like, were there always catfish you could catch? I don't know, they kind of sabotaged me a couple times. I impressed Mayor Lewis with my outstanding display, and after a little more fishing, I bought the star drop, which yet again, the taste reminded me of Maria's snoot. Then I also bought the rare crow and the ticket. I stopped by the fortune teller and had my future read, and I was really starting to regret giving Maru that strawberry. For the record, I didn't plan on marrying Maru in this playthrough. I already knew who I wanted to marry in this playthrough, but you all will find that out if you like this video and want to see me do another 100 days. I decided with the remaining tickets I had, I would spend them on the spin machine, and well, I'll let you all see how that went. Yeah, I actually really hate gambling in real life, so while I was tempted to keep playing this game until I lost all my tickets, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I went to the shop, bought the rest of the stock, and then went home. On day 73, my steel pickaxe was ready that I forgot to mention that I was upgrading. And while I was doing my morning chores, I accidentally tried to milk Pug. I'm sorry, Pug, I didn't mean it. I just sort of go on autopilot when I'm doing these chores. I made 2 oil makers so I could start making oil out of the truffles the pigs were getting for me. Then I went and grabbed my pickaxe and started the upgrade on the steel hoe. Reading the ticket I'd gotten from the fair and got some mixed flower seeds. I went back home and made a maki roll and a fried egg, which were the last 2 things I needed to complete the chef's bundle. Then I spent the rest of the night working on catching trash out of the pond on my farm for Linus's quest. Day 74 is going to be a big payday because I had truffle oil being produced regularly now and some pumpkin juice that was ready. It was also Marnie's birthday, so I patiently waited outside her door with a diamond, eyeing Mary Lewis's shorts that were sitting on our bedroom floor. After giving her her birthday gift, she happily left her door open for me. That way I could get Mary Lewis's shorts, which was a quest I've been sitting on for a couple weeks now. I dropped off the trash to complete Linus's quest and got the ticket I earned from doing that quest and redeemed it for some mystery boxes, which I quickly opened up. I got some deluxe speed grow, bombs, and chowder. I took the speed grow and planted the rest of the ancient fruit seeds that I had. I then spent the rest of the night in the mines farming up iron ore to make some more quality sprinklers. I made over 13,000 G that night between the truffle oil, pumpkin juice, mayo, and cheese. I also got a cutscene saying that there had been a bad windstorm, and we'll see soon enough what that means. On day 75, I woke up to Marnie at my door asking me to bring her a cave carrot. I also had a letter in the mail from Caroline asking me to get her a pumpkin. On my way to give Marnie the cave carrot, I saw what the windstorm had caused last night. And it was this tree requesting 100 hardwood to fix it up. I had no idea what this was about, but I was really excited and I wanted to get it fixed ASAP. I gave Marnie her cave carrot and also picked myself up an auto grabber for the barn. When I went to give Caroline her pumpkin, I got this cutscene with Abigail where she requested for me to carry her through her video game. I gave the pumpkin to Caroline, went and picked up my upgraded hoe, and then spent the rest of the night farming gold ore. On day 76, I woke up to Evelyn at my door, bestowing me with the garden pot. And today was kind of another chores day. Took care of the animals, farmed a little more hay, placed down some more quality sprinklers in the greenhouse. And then I finally remembered to grab 100 hardwood and go down to the mystical tree. And it built this wonderful little house with a message that said, maybe someone will decide to move in. Can I move in? Then I built a loom to process all the wool I had in a cloth and went to bed. On day 77, I went and checked on the magical treehouse and saw that a raccoon had moved in. When I tried talking to him, he said, hungry, need fish. And of course, being fluent in raccoon, I knew that meant he wanted 5 snails and a smoked midnight carp. I had a new mission in life, to provide this cute little woodland creature with sustenance. But all my crab pots were down at the ocean. I did not have a midnight carp, and I didn't have the fish smoker recipe. So we had some work to do. On my way to give Robin goat cheese for her birthday, I got this cutscene with Linus in his natural habitat. I love you, Linus. I treated myself to the final backpack upgrade, picked up my steel watering can that I forgot I had upgraded, and started the upgrade on a gold pickaxe. I went down to the beach to grab my crab pots so I could move them to the river and start getting snails. Purchased the iridium rod from Willie. I pick up the fish smoker recipe later. Redeemed a bunch of rewards I had at Gunther's and used them to redecorate the front yard of the museum. Then I went to floor 20 in the mines to catch the ghost fish, and then floor 100 to catch the lava eel, which I eventually wanted to put into a fish pond. I spent the rest of the night trying to catch the midnight carp for Mr. Raccoon and had 0 luck. But that night I leveled up fishing to level 10 and chose the pirate skill. On day 78, I woke up to Emily at my front door, letting me know I could start using her sewing machine. I also got a letter from the mayor with 500G bribing me not to tell anyone about his shorts being in Marnie's room. I'm just kidding, he thought I was a pretty cool farmer. Then I planted a few more ancient fruit in the greenhouse, and also planted the 1 starfruit seed I had, and some hops so I could complete a quest I got from Pam weeks ago. I accepted a quest from Magnus to slay some ghosts and get some ectoplasm. I processed a couple mystery boxes I gotten from fishing the night before, and got some lucky lunches, which would actually be really useful when I eventually went to the skull cavern. Checked on my crab pots, only got 1 snail, and then worked on the ectoplasm quest until it was time to start fishing for the midnight carp. I managed to get the ectoplasm on floor 71, and then spent the rest of the night trying to catch a midnight carp. And a little after midnight, I finally caught the magnificent purple beast. On day 79, my gold pickaxe was ready, which was one of the main things I was waiting for before I purchased the bus. I checked out the crab bots, got 2 more snails, meaning I just needed 2 more from Mr. Raccoon. And of course, I still had to actually smoke the midnight carp. I went down to Willie's, purchased the fish smoker recipe, and luckily I've been hoarding all of the jellies so I could actually make the fish smoker. Then I took the wizard man his ghost goo. I redeemed a ticket I got from that quest, and got a star drop tea, which I tried drinking but it wouldn't let me, and I guess this was just meant to be a gift that anyone would love. When I got back home, I actually made the fish smoker and got the midnight carp started. On day 80, I woke up to a letter from Magnus giving me the mini obelisk recipe. It was George's birthday, so I gave him a leek. Checked the crab bots, got 0 snails. Then went up to the community center and bought the 25,000 G bundle and got the crystallarium. I was eventually going to use this crystallarium to farm diamonds, but I wanted to wait until I had a shed before I placed it down. I then spent the rest of the day planning on where I was going to put quality sprinklers for winter. On day 81, I got the last 2 snails I needed from Mr. Raccoon, and I quickly took them over to him. After fulfilling his request, he said, "Thanks, Bobo." Who and or what is a Bobo? And he gave me some powder melon seeds, which could only be planted in winter. When I spoke to him again, he said, "Now maybe I find a wife." As a fluent raccoon speaker, I'm pretty sure Bobo means wife. But sadly, He didn't seem interested. I spent the rest of the day processing oil, cheese, and mayo, and also cut down some more trees on the farm. Day 82 was a super chill day. I just got hung around the farm and processed all the animal good stuffs I had. I'm not sure why I hadn't purchased everything I needed to unlock the bus, but we're gonna do that very soon, I promise. On day 83, it was a Spirits Eve festival, but first, we had pumpkins to harvest. After I finished harvesting the pumpkins, I started moving the quality sprinklers to where I was going to want them for winter. I'd originally planned to plant a bunch of winter forageables, but now that I knew about powder melon seeds, I was going to do a mix of both. Before the festival, I decided to stop by Robin's and get the big chest recipe, along with a couple other paths I wanted to use on the farm. Then I decided to fish a little bit before the festival, and I'm so glad I did because I ended up getting a dino egg from one of the chests, and I instantly went back to the farm and put it in the incubator. At the Spirits Eve festival, I bought the rare crow, jack-o'-lantern recipe, and a gravestone. I walked past all the scaredy cats in the maze and got the golden pumpkin. When I got home that night, I put the gravestone right at my entrance so it would be the first thing people see when they came to visit. On day 84, I donated the rabbit's foot, which was the last item I needed to complete the enchanter's bundle, and I also bought the rest of the bundles needed to repair the bus. I stopped by the traveling merchant and went ahead and bought the snowman rare crow, since it was 1000 G cheaper here than it would be at the festival in winter. Stopped by Marnie's and got some heaters for the animals, and then spent the rest of the day moving my paths around. And that night when I went to bed, the Junimos repaired the bus. On day 85, I woke up to this message. I was so excited. I instantly went outside and found the goodest doggo to celebrate. Then I got started planting the powder melon seeds that I'd gotten from Mr. Raccoon. Went out to Robin's and moved the barn and the coop, and got a shed started where the barn and the coop originally had been. And then I went to the desert. I accidentally caught the scorpion carp for catching the fish I actually was after, which was the sandfish. While in the desert, I introduced myself to Sandy, bought a few star fruit, and a cactus fruit, which I'd never planted before, but since I had a garden plot inside my house with nothing in it, I thought, why not? And this will actually be a 200 IQ move, and you'll see why later. When I got back from the desert, I found Krobus in this bush, and he gave me a magnifying glass. I ran into Linus, and I had to stop and appreciate his winter outfit. I accepted a quest from Magnus to get some prismatic jelly from some slimes, and this would be a huge mistake, but you'll see why later. I donated the sandfish to the community center, completing all of the fishing bundles. And that night, the Junimos removed the shiny boulder. On day 86, I accepted a quest from Willie to catch a squid. I planted the star fruit I purchased yesterday in the greenhouse, and also finally harvested the first hop, so I could start making the beer that Pam requested, I think back in summer, basically a really long time ago. I got the cutscene giving me the copper pan so I could start panning. And while wandering around Cindersap Forest, I stumbled upon this door for the first time, saying I needed to master the 5 ways to enter. Then I spent the rest of the night down the ocean, catching a squid for Willie. On day 87, my first shed was done, so I started moving all the kegs into it, and grabbed the leftover cranberries and pumpkins I had and put those into the kegs. Then I went up to Robin's and started the construction on another shed. I visited Linus and gave him a coconut for his birthday, then got some mystery boxes and a new artifact from this artifact spot. I cracked open the mystery boxes and got some more lucky lunches and a lobster bisque. I donated the new artifact to Gunther, and got a rare crow and some more decorations for the museum's front yard. I gave Willie the squid, bought a workbench from Robin, and then read on the wiki that I could get snow yams from randomly tilling land, so I tried it in front of Robin's house and instantly got one. Of course, after today, I'd get dozens of snow yams from artifact spots around the map, but at the time, I felt pretty lucky. I donated the yam to the community center, which was the last item I needed to complete the bridge repairs. I also donated a nautilus shell that I found, which completed the field research bundle. Then I spent the rest of the night working on the prismatic jelly quest, with 0 luck. And that night when I went to bed, the Junimos repaired the bridge over to the quarry. On day 88, I woke up and checked the TV, and it was another bad luck day. I've been checking the luck every single day since winter started, and the spirits just weren't having it. But my beer for Pam was finally done, and she wasn't even upset that it took me weeks to get it to her. Now that the quarry was unlocked, I headed over there, hoping to somehow get a prismatic shard from one of the funny-looking rocks, and didn't get one. So I decided to spend the rest of the day in the mines working on Magnus's quest, and I did some research later on, and it looks like the rate of prismatic slime spawning is also influenced by daily luck. And today was a bad luck day, so it makes sense I didn't find a prismatic jelly, but it still would have been nice if I somehow found one. Day 89 was a neutral luck day, which again sadly meant no skull cavern. So I spent some time planting powder melon seeds and some more winter forageables. And while heading down to check the traveling merchant's stock, I saw that Mr. Raccoon had found a wife, and here I was, thinking I was your Bobo. But I went ahead and spoke to them, and Mrs. Raccoon actually had a shop that you could buy seeds for the cost of things like tree seeds, sap, and moss. And when I spoke to Mr. Raccoon, he had another quest for me, and he was requesting dried powder melon and cactus fruit jelly. And see, this is where buying the cactus fruit when I went to the desert the other day was actually 200 IQ play. I had no idea this quest was going to happen. I will get you your food, Mr. Raccoon. However, I did not have a powder melon or a cactus fruit jelly, and I didn't have the recipe for the fruit dryer, so I will be back another day. And of course, the merchant didn't have the red cabbage that I was looking for. So I spent the rest of the day trying to get the prismatic slime, and again, couldn't find one. On day 90, the spirits were upset again. Clint asked me to deliver an amethyst to Emily, but before I did that, I stopped by Pierre's and got the dehydrator recipe. And when I went to Emily's to give her the amethyst, I got this cutscene where I dreamed a dream in time gone by with Emily. Well, this is exceptionally awkward. I'm actually here to give you a gift from Clint. We like pretend you're dreaming about him and not me. But I gotta say, I do love your winter outfit. She ended up smooching me. Clint, I'm really sorry about this. I spent the rest of the day in the mines trying to get the prismatic slime, and I was convinced at this point that they didn't exist. Yeah, I didn't find one again today. But that night, I did hit level 9 mining and unlock the recipe for the crystallarium. On day 91, the spirits were finally happy. I was so excited. We were definitely going to be hitting up Skull Cavern today. But it was also Caroline's birthday. When I walked outside to start getting prepped for Skull Cavern, Pierre was outside letting me know he's going to be selling new seeds next year. Pierre, I don't have time for this. I started getting prepped for Skull Cavern, grabbing anything I had, which really wasn't a lot. I was kind of going over there with a YOLO mindset. Like I was grabbing any of the bombs that I'd farmed from the mines beforehand, was taking 0 staircases with me, but I had been stockpiling up a lot of cheese for this very moment. I stopped by the traveling merchant and went ahead and bought a sweet gemberry seed from her, since I was eventually going to need one to get one of the star drops. Then I headed over to Caroline's to give her a birthday gift. I wasn't good enough friends with her to get into her room, and after checking the wiki, it said she wasn't going to leave her room until 1:30. And I'm really sorry about this, Caroline, but you are not getting a birthday present this year. When I made it over to the desert, I drank my coffee, ate my lucky lunch, and headed inside Skull Cavern. And here's a little montage of how it went. The Skull Cavern is kind of one of my favorite parts of Stardew Valley. I still remember how stoked I was the first time I made it to level 100. But in hindsight, it probably wasn't worth going today considering I missed Caroline's birthday and I was making no progress toward Magnus's quest. But I had fun, so that's gotta count for something, right? So yeah, we only ended up making it to floor 28 in Skull Cavern. But I promise before this 100 days is over, we will have a better Skull Cavern run. On day 92, I woke up to a quest from Mr. Chi to get to level 25 in Skull Cavern. I hate to break it to you, buddy, but I kind of did that yesterday. I had some powder melons that were ready, so after putting one into the dehydrator for Mr. Raccoon, I was going to save most of them to turn into juice. I also had some ancient fruit that were ready and planted the rare seed. After that, I went down to the Festival of Ice, told Willie I was going to smoke him in the ice fishing contest, and ended up doing so. On day 93, my dried powder melon was ready, but I was still waiting on the cactus fruit to grow for Mr. Raccoon. I got 10,000 G in the mail for completing Mr. Chi's quest of getting to level 25 in Skull Cavern. Then I did a few chores around the farm, like getting some more powder melon juice started and taking care of the animals. I had a bunch of ancient fruit seeds, but I was really waiting for deluxe speed grow before planting them, which meant I either had to wait for some deluxe speed grow from some mystery boxes or sacrifice oak resin, which I was saving for kegs, to make deluxe speed grow fertilizer. I went up to Robin's with the intention of starting a shed upgrade, but it was a Tuesday, so of course she was MIA. I grabbed some maple syrup and head to the secret woods and met this very friend-shaped bear who instilled me with the knowledge of being able to sell salmon berries and blackberries for 3 times the gold. I went to the bulletin board and took a quest from Emily to bring her a bunch of minerals, then went back home and swapped out Quality Sprinkler for an Iridium one. Ended up deciding to sacrifice making kegs and made enough deluxe speed grow to plant all the ancient fruit seeds that I had. On day 94, I finally placed down my crystallarium in the shed and put a diamond in it. I went up to Robin's and got the shed upgrade started. I took Emily all her minerals, redeemed a ticket I got from that quest, and got a fancy new bed. Went to Clint and opened some geodes, donated all the new minerals I had to Gunther, then patiently waited outside Sebastian's door to give him his birthday present. Even after giving him his favorite gift, he still didn't have the time of day to talk to me. I replaced my bed with a new one, moved my furnaces from the mines to my shed, and then spent the rest of the night chopping down trees on my farm. On day 95, I woke up to Gunther at my door, thanking me for all the donations I'd made to the museum. You're very welcome, sir. He also finally gave me the rusty key, which meant I could go pay Krobus a visit in the sewers. Checked the mail and got a sewing machine from Emily, and when I went to check on the animals in the coop, our dinosaur had finally hatched. I named him Dunosaur. I made another Iridium sprinkler, planted some more ancient fruit seeds, then went to pay Krobus a visit and gave him a diamond. It wasn't his birthday, but I was just so excited to see him, I figured he deserved it. I bought the star drop from him, and I just love being reminded of Maria's snoot. I noticed this butterfly powder in his store, and just how awful is this? Something to remove the pet from your farm? Like, what even? Then I spent the rest of the day moving everything from outside into my shed. On day 96, I got the notification that Squid Fest has started, which I'd never done before, so I would check that out later. I had some winter forageables that were ready, which I harvested, turned back into winter seeds, and replanted them. I went over to Robin's and got the upgrade started on my second shed, took Magnus a Void Essence that he requested, and then went down to the beach to check out the Squid Fest. It looked like to get the max rewards for that day, I had to catch 8 squid, so I got to work. By the end of the night, I got all 8 squids, and as rewards, I got deluxe bait, mystery boxes, dish of the sea, a pearl, a piece of furniture, in the Art of Crabbing book, which made crab pots get a 25% chance to yield double. On day 97 when I got up, I checked the luck, and it was a lucky day, which meant I really wanted to hit up Skull Cavern. And this time, I was gonna go prepared. I made all the bombs that I could, and planned on stopping by Robin's to buy as much stone as I could to make staircases. But if you remember yesterday, I asked her to start the upgrade on my shed, so when I got to her house, she wasn't there. But I decided to go to Skull Cavern anyways, and it was a pretty good run. I actually got a lucky ring on floor 2 from this box. I ended up making it to floor 72 that night, and while it's not floor 100, trust me when I say this won't be our last Skull Cavern run before the video is over. And I did end up farming quite a bit of iridium ore that day. On day 98, you're probably not gonna like what I'm about to say, but I ended up going to Skull Cavern. I know, I seem a little bit hyper-focused on going to Skull Cavern, but like I mentioned earlier, it was my favorite part of the game, and I was determined to get to floor 100 before this video was over. So I went to Robin's and did what I planned to initially do yesterday, and I spent most of my money on stone, making sure to save a little bit to actually afford a ticket over to the desert, and I was only able to make 35 staircases with the stone I had, but I still had faith. I even managed to stop by Harvey's and give him coffee for his birthday before heading to the desert. When I got to the cavern, I cribbed the lucky ring, ate my lucky lunch, and got to work. I hardly had to use my staircases at first because I was getting so lucky with holes. I even had this one hole that sent me 15 levels down. On floor 57, I got my first prismatic shard. And thankfully on most of the floors, I was able to farm at least a little bit of ore to make some more bombs. Then when I got to floor 71, I got a treasure room with 10 bombs, which really saved the run. When I got to floor 90, I knew I had plenty of staircases, and I started spamming them. Until finally, we hit floor 100. We were welcomed by Mr. Chi, who shamed me for using stairs to get here, but honestly, I wasn't ashamed. I made it here, didn't I? He gave me some iridium snake milk, which increased my health permanently by 25, and after saying my goodbyes to Mr. Chi, I celebrated by seeing how far I could go. On floor 104, I got another prismatic shard, and then again on floor 110, I got my third prismatic shard. I ended up making it to floor 123 that night, having farmed 85 iridium ore, 3 prismatic shards, and even got a crystallarium from one of the treasure floors. I went to bed that night knowing I'd never have to go back to Skull Cavern again. Just kidding, I'll definitely go back there eventually, just at least not in this video. On day 99, I woke up and started doing some chores. I had some ancient fruit, star fruit, and apples ready. At this point for the community center, all I had left were apples and red cabbage. I spent a little time organizing my sheds, planted some more ancient fruit, and then got the message about the night market that I'd completely forgotten about. I headed down there and checked the traveling merchant, who didn't have my red cabbage. Took the submarine down below and caught all the night market fish I needed. I had an octopus on my line, but in no way was going to be able to catch it. When I went home that night, I gave the goodest doggo some scratches, and he gave me some bones. I didn't know this was a thing. That's pretty cool. I went to bed that night, ready, but also not ready, for day 100. Day 100. We were finally here, folks. And the first thing I did when I got up that morning was I found the goodest doggo and gave him some love. He'd been here with me for most of this journey, and honestly don't know if I could have done it without his unconditional love and support. I then spent some time walking around the farm looking at all we'd accomplished, our fully upgraded barn and coop, our Dunosaur, our greenhouse full of ancient fruit. I then went up to the community center and donated the apples, meaning the last thing we needed to complete the entire community center was red cabbage, which I wasn't going to get before this video is over, but if we do another 100 days, I will definitely get some red cabbage. I decided in that moment the best way to end these 100 days was to go to the night market that night and try to catch the beast that had bested us the night before, the octopus. So when the time came, I went down to the beach, brought a couple trap bobbers with me to make the process easier, fueled up with some coffee from the desert merchant, and after making sure to get the pearl from our mermaid friends, I took the submarine down to the bottom of the ocean. At first I caught several seaweed and non-octopus. We're finally hooking the beast. And there you go, friends, we've beaten the game. Or at least in that moment, I felt pretty cool. And funnily enough, we got an ancient fruit seed from him. And when I got home that night, I made sure to give the goodest doggo one last snoop boop before heading to bed. And that's it for my 100 Days of Stardew. If you've made it this far, seriously, I appreciate you so much and thanks for watching. This is my first ever time doing a 100 days video in any game, so I hope you enjoyed. And like I mentioned earlier, if you want to see me do another 100 days, like the video, let me know in the comments below. I'd be happy to do it. I mean, I'm probably going to play it regardless. Whether or not I make a video about it will be up to whether or not y'all want to see it. But again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.